Good evening. My name is Dave Zeke. I'm a regent at the University of Washington and was on the advisory board at UWT for many years and am retired as publisher and editor of the News Tribune. And I'm thrilled to be here this evening. This is the 20th Annual Business Leadership Awards ceremony for UWT and the Milgard School. Let's give the school a hand. We are here tonight and we're proud to recognize 6 great leaders who embody the spirit of leadership that the Milgard School is creating in this community. To begin, I want to recognize that all of us at UW-Tacoma learn, live, and work on or near the ancestral home of the Coast Salish people. In particular, we are situated right now on the traditional territory of the Puyallup. As people on this occupied territory, we have a responsibility to acknowledge that this land, the ancestors who cared for it since time immemorial, and all our indigenous connections remain important today. We also have the responsibility to acknowledge the history of dispossession and forced removal that allowed for the growth and survival of this institution. In light of this history, let us take active efforts to partner with our indigenous community members and our neighbors as we continue to work together as a community of learners, leaders, and educators. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to take a moment to recognize the elected officials who've joined us this evening. I noticed that County Council Member Ryan Mello is with us. Councilman Mello, there he is. State Senator Tawana Noble is here. Tawana. And Tacoma's very own Mayor Victoria Woodards. Stand. You should stand so everybody can see you. Tonight we are also joined by members of several advisory councils. I'm going to list them, and then at the end, if you would hold your applause, we'll say thank you to all of them. The Milgard Executive Council, the Center for Leadership and Social Responsibility Board, the Milgard Women's Initiative Advisory Board, the Sports Enterprise Management Advisory Board, the Milgard DEI Advisory Council, the Milgard Accounting Program Advisory Board, the Milgard Center for Business Analytics Advisory Board, the UW School of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences Advisory Board, the UW-Tacoma Legal Pathways Advisory Board, the UW-Tacoma Campaign Committee, and the UW-Tacoma Advisory Board. If you're a member of one of these campus advisory boards, please stand for just a moment and let us recognize you and appreciate the work that you do. Thank you. Thank you for the time and the talent that you dedicate to UW-Tacoma. Before we get into this program, I want to take a moment to recognize a historic moment that occurred yesterday evening. One of our honorees is the Chief Operating Officer of the Seattle Sounders, Hua. The Sounders have been around for 14 years. In that 14 years, they've won 2 MLS Cups, a Supporters Shield, 4 U.S. Open Cup titles, and they're the first ever MLS victor of the CCL, the CONCACAF Champions League. That makes our Sounders the most successful MLS franchise in history. That's fantastic. Way to go, Sounders. As a result of being the CONCACAF champs, they will be invited to play in the 2022 FIFA World Cup. That's a fantastic honor. Congratulations, Sounders. I want to thank everyone for being here this evening to recognize our phenomenal 6 award winners, to celebrate business leadership in this community, and to support the great work being done at the Milgard School of Business and at UW-Tacoma. We are privileged to have a business school of Milgard's quality right here in downtown. The students certainly benefit from the quality of the education they receive. Businesses benefit from the impressive graduates that come out of this program. The community benefits from the economic growth, the dedication, and the energy that's created right here in the vibrant South Sound. Milgard students, by and large, come from this community and for the most part stay in this community. A quality business education earned here is accessible and affordable and is critical to the economic vibrancy of this region. And the future of the Milgard School of Business is even more exciting. So to talk about that a little bit and to talk about UW-Tacoma, I would like to introduce the new Chancellor of UW-Tacoma, Dr. Sheila Edwards-Lang. Dr. Lang.
Thank you, Regent Zeke. I appreciate you all for being here, and I especially appreciate those folks who stood up who are serving as volunteers and working on behalf of the university. So can you all join me in thanking them again with a round of applause? So I arrived in September to find a community that is supportive and engaged with this university and committed to making the university great. Everyone that I have met has said that in order for this community to thrive, the university has to thrive. In order for the university to thrive, we have to be engaged with the community. As many of you know, UW-Tacoma is an urban-serving campus with a diverse student body. 54% of our students are the first in their family to go to college, as was I. 59% of our students are students of color. The pillars of our urban-serving mission are a commitment to student access and success, a commitment to user-inspired research, a commitment to being a catalyst for economic development and vitality, and a commitment to forging and sustaining meaningful partnerships with our community. Those commitments are what make this university unique, and the partnership with you are what make it strong. Students come here, and they get the benefit of small classes taught by world-class faculty members who are doing research and scholarship that addresses critical issues in our community. The awards ceremony tonight is celebrating those of you in our community whose work aligns with our urban-serving mission and supporting our community. So I am so delighted to be here with you tonight as a new chancellor, as I said, in month 7, celebrating you, the remarkable community members who are doing incredible things in our community. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you for the work that you're doing to make our South Sound strong and viable. So it is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Altaf Merchant. For many of you, he needs no introduction. He started his academic career here at UW-T. He served 3 years as our dean and 6 years in different academic leadership roles in the Milgard School. Under his leadership, he has strengthened our work and commitment to equity and inclusion in the Milgard School. He has strengthened student success through the Student Success Center. He's created new partnerships to promote entrepreneurship and financial literacy. He's built a strong reputation for the Milgard School and helped us secure accreditation and the new building that is being built right here, which many people are complaining about, no parking. But that building and Altaf's role in bringing together engineering, business, and innovation, we think, is going to continue his legacy of excellence in academic leadership here at UW-T. So please join me in thanking Dr. Merchant for his leadership and welcome him to the stage.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Lang. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of the Milgard School of Business, thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate the winners of this year's Business Leadership Awards. These individuals have answered the call from the communities, promoting excellence, economic vitality, compassion, equity, and sustainability. I am delighted to share this special evening with all of you. To start, I'd like to recognize our sponsors for tonight's event. Thank you, Propel Insurance, for being a steadfast premier sponsor for many years. We truly appreciate your support. A big thanks to our benefactor sponsors, Sound Credit Union and Multicare. thank you for your continued partnership. Thanks to patron sponsor Virginia Mason Franciscan Health. And last but not the least, our media sponsor, South Sound Business, thank you. It is important for me that you know that the proceeds from this event go towards supporting student emergency aid, scholarship, and the Milgard Success Center. We are truly grateful for this. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Our previous deans, Patricia Fant, Shahrukh Saudagaran, Howard Smith, and Jill Purdy. We stand on the shoulders of our faculty, our staff, our alumni, our donors, supporters, and most importantly, our students. Over the last 28 years, the Milgard School has grown to about 800 students, 5,000 alumni, 4 graduate degrees, 1 undergraduate program with 5 concentrations, and 4 minors, and 6 centers of excellence. Next year, we will move to our new home, Milgard Hall, as Chancellor Lang was mentioning. At the Milgard School, we have a passionate commitment to innovation, academic excellence, service, compassion, and inclusiveness. I now want to extend my personal gratitude to all those who made sure that tonight happens and happens in style. My special thanks to Brianna Bales. Brianna, without your tireless dedication, none of this would have been possible. Thank you. Also, a shout out to Alison Hendricks, Kevin Dugan, Leslie Kincaid, our staff volunteers, and the panel of community leaders, alumni, students, faculty, and staff who served on the award selection committee selecting these eminent awardees. Now, I will turn our tonight's program back over to our wonderful MC. Thank you, Regent Zeke, for your diligent service to the university and for being the MC tonight. Let's give a round of applause to David Zeke.
Thank you, Dean Merchant. It's great to be here. Now we get to the reason we're here this evening, to recognize the 2022 Business Leadership Awardees. Let's take a moment and learn a little bit more, to start with, about Maya Mendoza Ekstrom, the 2022 Business Leader of the Year.
Maya's impact reaches far and wide throughout the whole organization. She's the heart and soul of Sounders FC, and she single-handedly has made it important to permeate social initiatives and social justice and social change throughout every aspect of Sounders FC.
Her leadership extends well beyond the pitch, well beyond the office, and I think she's a mentor, a leader to so many, and an inspirational person in just in general. Well, we recently promoted her to Chief Operating Officer of the Seattle Sounders, and really her forward trajectory, her pathway knows no bounds.
Maya is the most inspirational person that I know because she brings this incredible energy and passion to everything she does. She is so committed to the outcome and making sure that that everyone's involved, and you just can't help but want to be part of that energy that she brings and be part of that passion.
Maya has always prioritized diversity, equity, inclusion in her life. And so it's no surprise that she is leading the effort within Sounders FC to support diversity, equity, and inclusion for the club, and is in fact a leader in that effort citywide.
Maya is incredibly committed to inclusion and in true diversity and equity in all that the Sounders do when they are involved in the community. So she makes sure that every voice is heard, that everyone feels welcome at the table. And when that infuses everything that the Sounders do, that is the kind of impact that reverberates throughout the community in such a meaningful and significant way.
The arenas for change that we're focused on, and then ensuring that we have the organizational support structure, the resources, the right people to lead in those ways to ensure that we are accountable when we go out publicly and say we want to launch the social justice framework, but we want to be held accountable against that, and continuing to do that work to lead our values-led conversation. And this understanding and this belief that the values that we have as an organization, as a business entity, are not separable from our revenue objectives and our brand objectives, because we do stand for something more, and it is part of our core brand, our core value proposition.
To present the award to Maya Mendoza Ekstrom is Evie Lynn, last year's Business Leader of the Year and Chairman of the Board of Carriage Corporation. Evie?
I'm honored to present the Business Leader of the Year award to Maya Mendoza Ekstrom, Chief Operating Officer of the Seattle Sounders, where she's entering her 7th year serving as Vice President of Legal External Affairs. Maya was born and raised in the Seattle Sounders as a Seattle Sounders fan. She became an experienced player and received the All-American Soccer Player Award while she played soccer at the University of Puget Sound. She went on to receive her law degree at the University of Washington, where she went into private practice for about 7 years at the Mendoza Law Firm in Seattle. She has an extensive background not only as a player, but as a coach, a coaching director, a referee, and now a parent in the Washington Youth Soccer, who oversees all the soccer camps, clinics, and youth development activities. She has been a key stakeholder for all civic matters related to the organization, including the winning efforts of the United bid to bring the 2026 World Cup to North America, in which Seattle is a finalist among the possible host cities. Her accomplishments are too numerous for me to express, but at this time, I would like to present the Leadership Award to Maya Mendoza Ekstrom.
Go Sounders, number one. I'm not exactly sure where I am physically in the metaverse right now because it's been a whirlwind of the last 48 hours, but thank you very much. On behalf of everyone at Sounders FC, this is an honor, and it is an honor because in 1974, and yes, we will celebrate our 50th anniversary as a franchise, not in the MLS iteration, but in its totality, in 2 years' time in 2024. 1974, the first GM for Seattle Sounders FC, Jack Daly, arrived in Seattle, and he put together a cadre of talent from Europe. Players that were playing in clubs in Europe that had just won the 1966 World Cup with England, and they arrived here in Seattle, and the first thing he said to them was, "You will never say no to a community appearance. If somebody calls us, we go." And that is the ethos of the club from day one. It's the ethos of the club that my boss and mentor, Adrian Hanauer, who's our majority owner, fell in love with as an 8-year-old in 1974, that our head coach, as a young player in 1974, watched that ethos on the field, to grow up to play for the organization at 17. And last night, Brian Schmetzer played a 16-year-old who played critical minutes for us in the biggest game of our franchise history in the CCL championship. That ethos is a currency. Care is the best thing that we can do as a sports brand in our organization, in our community. The currency of care permeates everything that we do. Our fundamental driving force, our mission, and yes, we are a sports brand, and yes, we want to put cheeks in seats, and yes, we want to sell sponsorships, right? We want to do all of those things, but we are a mission-led organization, and our mission is to create moments, enrich lives, and to unify through soccer, and there is no better example than that of what happened last night in Lumen Field, of bringing diverse communities together, welcoming a supporting contingent of Pumas fans from not only our region, but across the state, and flying from Mexico to have an incredible event and feel welcomed coming to this community to celebrate the moment that both of our clubs were in. That is a legacy that was forged from the very foundings of our organization, and one that I fell in love with as a young player growing up. One that I fell in love with seeing players like Amy Griffin and Michelle Akers and Lori Henry, and I'm missing the fourth one. Oh my gosh, Shannon Higgins. Wow, that's crazy. The 4 members of the 1991ers that won the first Women's World Cup that were all from the Puget Sound region. Casey Keller from the Puget Sound region, Marcus Hanneman from the Puget Sound region, Chris Henderson from the Puget Sound region. This community has produced players that go out into the world. And the best thing about it is they come back, right? They don't leave, because we exercise care as a fundamental principle of how we go about our operations in the world. And that value was tested in the last 2 years, as it was for all of us in COVID, when we couldn't convene people in the stadium, when we couldn't create those moments and enrich lives through our core product, which is really what happens at Lumen Field. And we were thrown into the same twin challenges, those twin crises of the pandemic and the call for social justice that started first in our neighborhood, in the Chinatown International District, and the naming of the pandemic as the Asian flu that shut down the neighborhood that we hold dear, all the way through the cry for justice and the murder of George Floyd in the spring of 2020. Those two things crystallized for us that our platform, our voice as an organization, while we are rooted in the values of care, could do so much more, used properly, used strategically, threaded into everything that we do. And so it's only through the last 2 years that we emerge now hoisting another trophy with the capacity to convene people again in our stadium for a moment of triumph, to put us and our brand on the global stage for the first time in the history of our league, and do it from a values-led proposition where it matters that every person is included. It matters that when we show up to work, that those 8-year-olds in the stand that were like Adrian Hanauer, those 8-year-olds that are watching on TV, are inspired the same way that he was to be connected through sport, through this game, through soccer, to the wider world. And we are on the precipice of that. We are so hopeful that FIFA will hold to the newest slide in the deadline, and we'll make our announcement on June 15th that this region, and while Seattle's name is going to be on the bid, it ain't Seattle's bid, right? It's going to take the entirety of our region to support this event, the entirety of our state. We're going to need every single hotel night. I know that's to be true. I've done the math, from Everett to Olympia, most likely, to support this event. And it really will be a testament to the Pacific Northwest, to the different ethos out here in the Pacific Northwest, where sport as a convening power is one thing, but when we convene the world, we do it on our terms, and we start from the value of care. So I look forward to celebrating that with all of you in the South Sound. I thank you all. I thank Stan Emmert. Thank you for bringing me on to the Sport Enterprise Management Advisory Committee. It's allowed me to reconnect with the community that I spent a lot of time in, both as a player and coach down here at the University of Puget Sound for nearly 20 years. And I think one of the critical things about this institution is that it's a student-centered institution. The fact that the Sports Enterprise Management Program exists means that you care about students, that you care about their wants, their desires, their needs, and their pathways, and it's not preordained how they get there. And this industry is one that is about to explode in this region. And so this program specifically is set up to take advantage of that and to put real careers in front of graduates of University of Washington, Tacoma. So thank you very much. On behalf of all of us of Sounders FC, I'm really flattered and honored to receive this award.
Logger for life, Husky for eternity. Thank you, Maya. Keeping with that theme of sports and caring, we turn now to our next award. If I can find my spot here. Oh, there we go. Excuse me. Time to honor this year's Nonprofit Leader of the Year, Constance Trufant.
What I see that's inspiring about Miss Constance is her compassion and love for the community, giving back to those in need. Constance's willingness to give at a drop of a dime has been life-changing for our club members. So right in 2003 is when Marcus was drafted in the NFL. And right away, right when he was drafted, I kid you not, a day later, Constance has me on the phone and she's asking us, what does the Boys and Girls Club need? What do you guys need? Right away, we started getting generous contributions from the foundation. And so that was in 2003, and they continue to give to present.
The Trufant Family Foundation focus now is on scholarships for underrepresented students. And we believe that all students should have an opportunity to go to school to further their education.
One thing that really amazed me when I first came to the foundation was the scholarship program and how it was designed, and that a scholarship was renewable to a recipient, as long as they kept in contact with us and as long as their grades were pretty good. And I am just shocked because you don't see that. You don't see that in many foundations.
The Trufant Family Foundation started off of doing all these different things, and we're still there because that's where our heart is. There's a lot of people that need help, so we want to touch a little bit of everybody. But we've been centering around education.
Now that the pandemic is over, and get into the middle schools and do some more lecturing like we used to do at different assemblies with kids, and telling them the importance of listening to their parents, getting good grades. And especially, you don't have to be an athlete like Marcus, Isaiah, or Desmond. You can be anything you want to be, but it all starts with obeying your parents and education.
What I enjoy about the Trufant Foundation is that if there's a need in the community, especially in Pierce County, they're going to meet it. They met it with COVID. They are at the front lines when there's any kind of a need here in Pierce County when it comes to students.
My mom, of course, was really leading the charge, and she always had my dad there as her sidekick, doing all the heavy lifting, doing all the work and stuff like that. But my mom really just pushing this thing forward, the love for the community, the love for the youth, and the willingness to do the dirty work, right? Sometimes you just got to roll your sleeves up and go to work, right? Hello, I'm Marcus Trufant, the eldest son of Constance Trufant. Yes, my mom, some people call her Mama True, some people call her Miss Constance, but we just call her Mom, right? Congratulations, Mom. Of course, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done for me and that you continue to do. Can't wait to see what's next.
Hello, my name is Isaiah Trufant, second son of the wonderful Constance Trufant. Congratulations for all the years of hard work that you've put in, countless and countless hours of being involved with the Trufant Family Foundation. There's been hundreds and hundreds of kids and people that have benefited from your efforts and hard work that you've put in throughout these years. And I just want to say thank you for being you, and congratulations.
First off, I want to say congrats, Mom. You've done a great job over the years I don't know, I think it's been 20 plus years now that you've been running the foundation. I can remember being, a young kid, you up all night in the office, planning on the phone, taking meetings, doing emails, scheduling, doing anything and everything you can, to raise money for the community and for the Trufant Family Foundation for us to give back. So it's been a long time coming. You definitely showed us how to give back to the community and the work ethic that it takes. So thank you, and we love you.
So in our family, I told Constance this before the dinner. In our family, it said, if the kids turn out good, Mama did it. Amen. If they didn't, that was my problem. You did a great job, Mom. To present the award to Constance Trufant this evening is UW Tacoma's Chancellor, Dr. Sheila Edwards-Lang. Chancellor Edwards-Lang.
Great. As you heard from the video and as Regent Zeke referred to, Ms. Constance has done an incredible job raising her own kids. And she could have relaxed and just said, my part is done, and celebrated the success of her own children. But what she did was she embraced the children of our community and has been working tirelessly for other people's children. And through the scholarships, we heard about the scholarships, but what you don't hear a lot about is all of the things that wrap around children. So partnering with youth programs, making sure during COVID that the community wrapped its arm around those kids who didn't have access to technology. And developing innovative partnerships with the Urban League and with others to make sure that people had the Seattle Education Access Foundation to make sure that students had what they needed during COVID to be successful. There's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and we are so fortunate to have Ms. Constance as part of that village. And it sounds like doing many, 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 many jobs in that village on our behalf. So it is my great pleasure to present this year's Nonprofit Leader of the Year to Constance Trufant. Please join me.
Well, that was quite a blessing. Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and supporting our community and our foundation. I want to say a quick thank you for the lights that came on, because I have my 16-inch font here for my presentation, so thank you for that, Brianna. I want to thank the Dean and everyone from the Milgard family that has that nominated me, for this award, and I am just truly blessed to receive it. We have history with the Milgard family because excuse me. My husband Lloyd worked for the Milgards, and he passed away last year. So, but the Milgards have been big supporters of us. When Marcus went to WSU and Lloyd was still working with them and at Milgard Windows downtown, and even when Marcus retired him after he became a Seahawk, he would still go to the plant and say hello, to everyone. And but when I retired in 2003 from Social Security, I never went back. So kudos to the Milgard family. I want to say that. So Lloyd loved them and they loved him, and we all loved him, and we miss him. So I already talked with the dean earlier this year, tonight, and told him I wouldn't say his last name. I just want to say thank you to the dean for recognizing me with this award, and Brianna for putting the program together, and Marcus, Sierra, and Kavehi for making the video. It was truly wonderful. I really appreciate it. And before I go any further, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and being the head of my life. And a big thank you to you, Marcus, for trusting me and my husband, your dad. We call him Chill because he was so cool. That's the truth. For trusting us to help you establish the foundation and to run the foundation while you were busy playing football with the Seattle Seahawks. And we truly ran the business as a mom and pop business. We were called Mama True and Papa True, and that was the Mama True and Papa True show. So I just want all y'all to know that we were the original, the OGs of the mamas for the Seattle Seahawks, so don't get it twisted. And we did that, Lloyd and I, as well as a fantastic board of directors, of fantastic volunteers. Gosh, 100+ volunteers were with us the duration from 2003 to now. And I think to say that is wonderful, because sometimes some organizations have told me it's hard to find volunteers, but we didn't have a problem. Maybe it was because Marcus was a Seahawk, but that's okay with me. We needed them, so we'll take them. And from the beginning, Marcus, Lloyd, my husband, and I said we wanted to invest our time, our effort in the foundation. And we wanted to call it not the Marcus Trufant Foundation, but the Trufant Family Foundation, because it was about family. You know, we wanted the community to know that we're about family, and not only our family, but families in the community, okay? And also, of course, because his brothers, Isaiah and Desmond, they also were a big part, you know, of the foundation, coming out to the events, signing autographs for the different auction items that we wanted to have at the event, so that we can raise money, you know, for the kids in our community to go to school. So it's all about raising the money and the funds so that we can make a difference in the community. So they were there, and not only them, their wives. I took many hours away from Marcus and his family, Isaiah and his family, and of course Desmond is the younger one. He's 10 years younger than Marcus, and 8 for Isaiah. But I definitely reached out to him and had him sign some autographs, you know, so that we can sell some of his autographs so we can raise money for the foundation. And I want to say a big thanks to my sister Laura Collins. She's here today because it's a family foundation. So Laura has been with me as well as some other family members, but Laura in particular through the duration. So thank you, Laura. That's Miss Laura right there. And I want to say thank you to my event planner, Kavehi Marshall. She's right here, so she was always there. And Marilyn Moorhead also. So give them a round of applause. Because I'm telling you, when we said we were burning the midnight oil, we burned the midnight oil. This was a grassroots organization, and we still are. I said to my board, as well as to my volunteers, that I would not ask them to do nothing that I wouldn't do. So what did I do? I stayed up all night long with Kavehi next door to the bedroom where my husband was sleeping, waiting for me to come, you know, to bed. It's like, no, I got to stay right here, and we got to finish this work. And with Laura and Marilyn saying, okay, Constance, we got this one last dinner order that we need to take care of, so can you just sign your name on this or whatever? So we did that. My husband was so good at making sure that we were all taken care of, and that we, anytime we had to pack anything at the house, because we weren't that good to start off with. You know, you're never that good. You learn. So because we learned about how to do things, we got better and better, and we became experts. So thank you. I'm proud of them. You know, I couldn't be more prouder of what we've done and what we've accomplished, and mainly because of the grassroots effort and the hands-on to do what you need to do. So when Marcus retired in 2014, and so him and his wife, Jessica, she's not here tonight because she's having a family issue right now, family medical issue, but she's going to be all right. She allowed Marcus to come out in 2014, her and Marcus rather, for our Santa breakfast, and they helped with the letters to people, the sponsorships, going behind the scenes and packing and unpacking. And they said, oh my God, you guys have done this for 19 years? Yes. Yes, we have. And guess what? Yes, you can. Yes, you can continue to do this with us. So it's been wonderful. It's been really wonderful. And from the beginning, our passion was to help others and to give back to the community that gave to us. I can remember as a child, and I grew up on the hilltop of Tacoma on Sheridan Street, 19th and Sheridan. And I recall getting grocery bags of oranges and apples and bread and cheese, you know. And then my husband, he came from New Orleans. That's where and then he came up here by the military. And so his family, what they did is they lived off the land. They would go fishing in New Orleans. They would hunt for their food. And then they were like a little community. And so they helped each other out in the community as friends and as family. And so, again, giving to each other. So it was only natural that we should give back. And so then my kids, they had an opportunity to get a scholarship to go to play football. So my husband and I, we never said, be sure that you go to football practice so that you can get a scholarship. Because if you don't, you won't be able to go to college. We always wanted to plan, and we did plan and save money for them to go to college. But it was 3 of them. We had money for 2, but Desmond, we didn't have money for 3. We didn't. So it was truly a blessing when our boys was able to get a scholarship. So thank you, God. I want to just say, Marcus, thank you for being so easygoing, so charismatic, so compassionate, so willing to do what your mom asked you to do. He signed many an autograph. He took many a pictures, many. And I just want to say, you're the man. And I'm proud of you. And let's see here. And I also want to say, and put a shout out that Desmond, when he went to, he started his own foundation also, the Tacoma Kids Foundation. And so he hosted a lot of events, some football events and some backpack giveaways and some coat drives. And guess what? My board, my volunteers were there to help him. So we just thank God for that. You know, it's a blessing. And not only were we there, Isaiah's family, he has some twin girls. They were there. And so you're showing the kids the way to go. So if you don't do it, then, and they don't see it, then how can they know to do it? Amen. So that's what we do as a family and as a foundation. So thank you, Desmond, for what you do. And let's see. I also want to say, in closing, I like to take some words from a human kindness commercial that you probably all have maybe heard, and I love it. I just love to hear good words, encouraging words, because it encourages my heart, and it makes me feel good. So I say, if it makes me feel good, it should make others feel good. So I just want to say that you are all leaders. You are champions. You shine. You win because you don't quit. You help kids, you help adults, and you help your community, and you have helped us. So thank you for that. You do this every day without even thinking about it a lot of times. People see you. We see you, and we appreciate you. What you do matters. It's not just a cliche, that word matters. It's for real. It matters. And you will continue to change the world. Thank you again for this recognition of the Nonprofit Leader of the Year Award. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chancellor Lang, for introducing Constance. And Constance, thank you again, and the Trufant Family Foundation for all that you do. Now let's turn to the screen as we recognize this year's Sustainable Business Leader, Douglas Reed.
Let me start by saying that Doug is a very humble person, and I think that's part of his success.
Green Diamond has prioritized managing the forest as a generational asset since 1890, and that is stewardship, managing assets for over 130 years. And all this while actively contributing to the well-being of the rural operating communities where our assets are based.
As a company, they've been leaders for a long time. The other thing I would say that there's just increasing understanding of around the world is the importance of forests and working forests to ecosystem health. And Green Diamond understands that. They know that they are partners with organizations like the state and the federal Fish and Wildlife agencies, because working forests are critical habitat for animals. They are important for clean water and clean air and mitigating runoff into streams.
My grandfather, who essentially had my job, he used to famously ask some of the foresters, "What are you doing for my grandchildren?" And that was before he even had grandchildren in some cases. And so it set a sense of how are we managing this for the long term?
He also understands that sustainability is more than just ecosystem health or sequestering carbon or the practices of the business. It is about sustainable economies in rural communities. It is about creating job opportunities for people who may not have even contemplated that industry as a profession, to diversify his workforce, to make sure that they're reflective of the communities.
And I almost say that sustainability that's like table stakes. That's the baseline. We actually like to talk more about stewardship, where with the idea that we're not just sustaining these things, we're actually making them better. We actually, the sustenance is the bare minimum for what we do. We want to take the things and the assets and the lands and the environment that we are responsible for managing and actually make them better for future generations. And that's a hallmark that's gone on for really really for generations in the business. And so now we're doing things, we're planting trees now that won't be valuable for 40 or 50 or 60 or up to 80 years. For me to go out there and see a 15 or 20-year-old stand of Douglas firs in Western Washington, and we're stewarding it, and the effort we're doing now is going to pay off for my children or grandchildren. I mean, what more can you ask for somebody who really wants to work in a long-term business?
To present the award to Douglas Reed is Josh Dunn, President of Premier Media Incorporated. Josh.
What an opportunity this is tonight to recognize Douglas Reed, President of Green Diamond Resource Company, a 5-generation company. This Sustainable Business Leadership Awardee is following in his grandfather's footsteps, managing forests and making decisions that impact our industry for decades down the road. Would you please welcome President Douglas Reed?
Thank you. Being here, I'm reminded a little bit of Norm Dix. Norm Dix, of course, longtime congressman from Tacoma, a great public servant, and also an alumnus of the University of Washington. And so I've heard he was asked to give the commencement speech one year to the graduation at the University of Washington. And he gave his speech, and the students got a little restless, probably not helped by the driving rain. And it got a little long, and at some point the congressman reached that moment in his speech, and he said, "And in conclusion," and the whole student sector stood up and started cheering. So we come to universities to learn, and so I have learned brevity is the soul of wit. But I would be remiss in not saying thank you, certainly to the University of Washington Tacoma. It's a lovely evening. Thank you all for being here. Thank you also to the video production team. As many of you undoubtedly know, the editor of a video like that has enormous unseen power. The same interview in the hands of a skilled editor can make the subject look either brilliant or like a complete buffoon. And obviously, this team was either kind or more likely took pity on me. I can assure you there are many instances where they said, "Doug, that sounds kind of interesting, but can you try it again and sound like someone who knows a little bit about what they're talking about?" I also recognize that I'm here representing a business that's been operating in the South Sound for 130 years, and it's a sustainability award. And some of you might say, "Well, that's not an award of merit, that's just an observation." This is your sustainability award, sort of de facto. It's a factual award. You're sort of like chewing gum on the sidewalk. We haven't been able to get rid of you no matter what we try to do. And to that, I would say, actually, I take no small amount of pride in surviving. That no soaring oratory is probably spent talking about companies that have managed just not to die. But in fact, there is some merit in that. And I would say to be able to have existed for as long as we have without ever being put in a place where we had to make the hardest decision, where we were in a place where you had to sell something at the worst possible time to sell it. To avoid all of those things, I take some pride in that. You may say that that is winning simply by not losing, but that's still winning. Some of my colleagues may recognize in that comment an echo of something I like to say, which is, if you're running a long-term business, you only have to be, like a casino, right 55% of the time, which is helpful because I'm wrong a lot. And I would say that as we think about sustainability, I choose actually to think about the sustainability, the award that we receive, not simply as a cockroach-like, he survived everything that was thrown at him and is still here, but in fact, a change in the way the society thinks about businesses. And that here we are, and maybe our business, our industry even, plays a role that is important for society. And so to be here in the shadow of the Washington State History Museum, it gives me great pleasure and honor to think about my company and my industry, not just a part of our great state's past, but of its future as well. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction, Josh. And Doug, congratulations to you. Quite the honor. It's now my pleasure to recognize Miriam Barnett as the 2022 Women's Leadership Awardee.
Miriam's the leader that walks alongside you and lifts you up and helps you over those tough times. She helps you, doesn't do it for you, right? Because everybody's fit is a little bit different.
Miriam exudes joy, and she knows how to bring joy to the work, joy to really hard work. She knows how to lift people up. She can feel the energy of other people just very intuitively.
She's what I call a doer. She doesn't make a big fuss. She doesn't talk a lot except for to explain where she's going and how she needs support. And then she goes and she gets it done. She is focused on serving that part of our community that is having the toughest time in their lives. And so her impact really has been incredible for Tacoma.
She really leads with her heart, and that shows. Not in a mushy way, in a very strong way, but it really, her leadership comes from her heart.
You know, the Dorothy Height project that Miriam was responsible for having built has made an incredible difference in our community. We are keeping families off the streets. 75% of the units in that building go to families who have experienced homelessness or who are coming out of homelessness.
So the YWCA housing project called Home at Last became 54 units for homeless families and individuals in our community. And that was a requirement to be housed there if you were currently homeless.
That's not just changing the life of the person who moves into the very first apartment in the Dorothy Height apartments. That's changing the life for their children who were there, and their children and their children.
Building affordable housing is hard and expensive, and definitely not for the faint of heart. She knew that housing was critical to a healing process, and people needed to feel safe and secure. So, she truly filled a need for the most desperate in our community.
You know, the Dorothy Height project that Miriam was responsible for having built, kind of her legacy, in my opinion, that she'll leave. But what's so important about that project is not just the units and the number of people they serve, but what I also admire about a lot of people in our community, but especially about leaders like Miriam, is that it's a quality project. It is a place that you're proud to call home. It is a place where women who are coming out of the most difficult times of their lives, that feels like a place where you could heal and re-find your joy. And that all really is attributed to the way that Miriam sees that part of our community and recognizes what they really need to move forward.
To present the award to Miriam Barnett is Kathy Keel Anderson, Chair of the Milgard Women's Initiative Board. Kathy.
This year, the Milgard Women's Initiative we recognized Miriam Barnett as our inaugural recipient of our Women's Leadership Award. Miriam has dedicated over 30 years to nonprofit management, spending the last 17 years as the CEO of the YWCA in Pierce County. Later this month, Miriam will be receiving an honorary doctorate of humane letters degree from the University of Puget Sound. Please join me in welcoming Miriam on stage.
Thank you so much. I learned today that Kathy was on the YWCA board in 1976 when I wasn't there, but voted to turn our facility into a shelter for domestic violence victims. So thank you, Kathy, for being there at a critical moment. I want to thank you so much for naming me as the inaugural recipient of this award, and am so happy that you've decided to focus on women leadership. I can assure you there are and will be many deserving recipients in the future because our community is so full of awesome women, right? So thank you for honoring that. And I accept this award on behalf of all women, including trans women, like my daughter. And I want to express my congratulations to all these other amazing award winners. What an honor to be standing here where you have just stood. So thank you for all you have done. We're in good company here tonight with past recipients. I know there's probably more, but there's 3 at my table. And they were all honored in the past as nonprofit leaders. And that is Helen McGovern-Pylant, Liz Dunbar, and Maureen Fife. So a round of applause for them. We've now created the Milgard School of Business Sisterhood, so I'm happy to be part of it. And I also want to acknowledge the other wonderful friends at my table, Pierce County Councilman Ryan Mello, Pierce College Chancellor Michelle Johnson, current YWCA President Cindy Grady, and my husband of almost 42 years, Dan Barnett. So thank you so much. And I also want to acknowledge somebody very special in this room. He is a recent graduate of the Milgard School of Business, and I was blessed to be asked to be his mentor in the Dressel Scholars Program. And he is here tonight. I couldn't be more excited. He just graduated, majored in business administration, minored in data analytics. He is Leland James O'Neill Adams. Please stand. If you get an opportunity to be a mentor in that program, say yes. You will get more than you give. Thank you so much. I want to share a few lessons that I've learned in my over 35 years in nonprofits. And the first thing I want to share is that there are 3 steps to creating the change you want to see in the world. Visualize it, dream big, and believe that anything's possible. Don't overthink it, or you might talk yourself out of a good idea. How many opportunities have we missed because we let fear take over, right? Thank you. Once you have these 3 things, visualize it, dream big, and believe that anything's possible, then surround yourself with the people who can help you get there. Then, if your big idea needs financial support, ask people to help you, right? Give them the opportunity to feel really good that they were part of a really great project. If you don't ask, they can't say yes. So don't be afraid to ask. I also want to share another important lesson that I have learned, which is that beauty makes a difference in how people heal and how people feel. The arts are not a frill. So I'm going to pause for a minute and ask you to give a round of applause to the quartet that played earlier this evening. Has they helped us experience, the arts embrace our hearts and our souls, and the arts are soothing and comforting. If you want to see some of the art in the Dorothy Height Apartments, go up to 4th and Broadway, just up the street, and you will see a beautiful mural, a number of beautiful ceramic mosaics, and a wonderful fence that actually has positive words on it, right? Because we know words make a difference. And all of that art is on the outside of the building, so you can share in it too. There's more art on the inside, but that's just for the tenants. So feel free to go up there and take a look. All the art was done by local artists, and they were all paid. Please don't ask artists to work for free, right? It's a profession. And finally, I just want to say, if you're in a position to help someone out, consider buying the best you can buy for them. Consider buying something new for them, because it brings dignity to their life and they feel valued. I have witnessed this over and over. I've been blessed to witness it. And it's made such a difference in my life to be able to know that I can just do something and it doesn't have to be big, but it can change a life because it makes somebody feel valued. Let me give you an example. When we were opening the Dorothy Height Apartments and the tenants were going to be coming and start moving in, 3 a day, because, got to make it special. I realized, I had this epiphany one day walking to work, that all of our tenants who are going to show up have been living in their car. They've been living maybe in a shelter or maybe in a tent. They were currently homeless. So that meant they were going to unlock the door to their new home. For some, it was their first home. And what were they going to see? They couldn't see nothing. Like, that would have been a horrible thing. They were probably going to come with maybe a suitcase, if that, right? So I made this list, it was really long, of everything you would need for a bathroom, bedrooms, kitchens, living rooms, etc. And I put it out there on social media, told everybody in the world that I could, and gave them the opportunity to buy something new. Had to be new. Blankets, toothbrushes, you can imagine what you need to set up a home, right? Well, one of our very first tenants unlocked the door, because that's what we had them do, unlock their door. And what she saw in front of her on the kitchen counter was a coffee maker still in the box. And she broke into tears because it had been so long since she'd been able to make herself a cup of coffee. That new coffee maker was all it took, right? And that really spoke to me. At that point, coffee makers were kind of on the list of optional. Oh no. A new social media post went out saying, I actually need about 50 more coffee makers, please. And the poor Prime delivery people, they just came and came and came, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. So think about ways you can give people the opportunity to give back. So I could go on, but I'll stop here. Thank you again for this honor, which is humbling. I accept it as an invitation to continue to give back and pay it forward, and I invite you to join me, because there is, after all, an abundance of good to be done in our beloved community. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Kathy for that introduction, and congratulations to Miriam. This evening, we're also going to recognize another inaugural recipient, this time of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Community Leadership Award, and it goes to our very own Mayor, Victoria Woodards.
Well, I would say that everything that she does is done with an eye towards diversity, equity, and inclusion. Some people strive to do that. She does it because it's who she is. She wants people included. She understands the critical importance of diversity and bringing everybody to the table, whatever it is, if it's a homelessness issue or if it's an equity issue or if it's business concerns in a certain part of town, whatever it is, she brings people together and she lets everyone know that they're important.
She's the type of leader that is thinking of how can we include one more person or two more people in this work, because we all make up the community, and everyone's voice should really be at the table. So I see it in her and her decision making all the time, and those decisions are about how do we create a more equitable Tacoma.
She'll lead by example and make sure that voices that aren't often included, or voices that are usually purposefully marginalized, are brought to the forefront, especially people of color, especially indigenous voices, young people's voices. You see her do that with her actions all the time. You see her ask the tough questions, not to just make a point, but to really move an organization forward, to change a culture.
Changing kind of the way we do business isn't about coming into my community and helping. It's about going into your own community and changing it so it can be better. We all have that opportunity. I don't need you to come talk to my friends, I'm talking to them. I need you to talk to your friends. I need you, when you walk into a room and you sit down at a table and you look around and there's no person of color in the room, I need you to recognize that and bring that forward. Or when you sit down in a room and there's only one person of color in a very big room, your voice needs to come up. Look at what you can do in your own community, how you can shape and make your community a better place for everyone who lives there. And if you're always surrounded by people who look like you, change your circle a little bit.
The truth is, the work that she does, she wasn't doing it for this sort of recognition. She was doing it because this is her life's mission. Her life's mission is to bring people together. Her life's mission is to make our community a better place. Whatever community she is in, she's going to make it a better place. And she does that with grace, with intelligence, with vision, with optimism, contagious optimism.
She was the president and CEO of the Tacoma Urban League before me, and so I got to see her impact helping community members with housing and healthcare, education and employment, and just fighting for justice every single day. So she has a legacy that will continue to live on, but so many of us have learned about compassionate and strong and thoughtful leadership because of Mayor Woodards.
To present the award to Mayor Woodards is our own Dean Altaf Merchant. Dean Merchant.
Mayor Victoria Woodards has been making a difference in our community ever since she was elected to the Metro Parks Board. Through her roles as the president of the Tacoma Urban League, City Council, and now as mayor, Victoria has always prioritized equity and inclusion towards making Tacoma an anti-racist city. Tonight, we honor the mayor with our inaugural Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Community Leadership Award. Please welcome to the stage our very own Mayor Victoria Woodards.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for this honor. I'm somewhat at a loss of words because I'm one who likes to honor, not be honored. I am more comfortable giving than I am receiving. First, let me start by saying thank you to the Milgard School of Business and Dr. Merchant, to you and your entire team for this honor. I have been a lot of firsts in my life, but tonight I am especially honored to be the first to receive this award. So thank you to you and your team. Can we give the Milgard Business School of Business a round of applause? And I also want to thank the University of Washington Tacoma as a whole for taking this time to really sit back and honor those who do work every day in this great city, in this great community, who don't do it for recognition. As I think about all of those who are honored tonight, some of them who I know personally and some of them who I just learned about for the first time. But I know that none of us wake up every day wondering, how can I do this to get my next award? We all wake up wondering, how can I do this to make my business, the place where I work, live, and play, a better place? So to all of the recipients tonight, please let's give them another round of applause. When I got the call, I was like, me? Are you, no, you're calling to tell me that you're honoring somebody I wanted to honor, not me, myself. And I was so blown away because it is true what Barry said in that video, and it's that I don't wake up every day thinking about equity and diversity. I wake up every day thinking about people and how much better we can be as a city if we include all the voices in this city. How much greater our education system can be, how much greater our neighborhoods can be, how much greater our nonprofits can be, our schools can be, and our businesses can be. If we focus not on product, but on people. Because people are really what make this world, this state, this great city what it is. I say it all the time. People say, well, you're the mayor of Tacoma, and I will stand in a room of hundreds of mayors and will not be embarrassed to say, my name is Victoria Woodards. I have the honor of serving the greatest city in the universe, Tacoma, Washington, and I'm not ashamed of that. And I don't say it to be boastful. I say it because deep in my heart, I believe it to be true. I not just believe it to be true, I know it to be true. When you think about all the amazing things that we have in this great city of Tacoma, we're sitting here in the most beautiful urban campus, the University of Washington, Tacoma. We have other incredible universities and colleges and technical colleges. We have more museums per capita in this city than other places. We have the beautiful rain, which every summer gives us the most magnificent flowers and the greenest grass. We have incredible, distinct neighborhoods, all which have their very own character that make Tacoma so special. You can get to the mountains, to the ocean, to a trail in no time. We have an incredible waterfront that you can sit at and walk on, and actually it's clean enough for you to actually get in a boat and get in. And all those things are specials. We have amazing businesses, from being home of Almond Roca to being home of Milgard and other incredible businesses, from the largest to the smallest, from the oldest to the newest. And all of that is wonderful. But if we had to pick one thing in all of that that makes Tacoma special, if you live in Tacoma, raise your hand. It's every single one of you. What makes Tacoma what it is, and you've heard me say it, is the people who choose to call it home. And our city will continue to be great and continue to grow if we remember that. Not just in what we say. Equity is not just a word that we use. It really is how we should live every single day. If we include every one of those voices in every decision that we make, in everything that we do, not only will our city as a whole be richer, but we individually will be greater. I want to thank my friends and my family who are here with me tonight, my mother, who gave birth to me, who allows me to do this work every day, and to Jeannie Jefferson Moss, who is here, who was the great wife of my late father, Harold Moss, who was in the video tonight. And to all of my friends who in my darkest hours, because let's be clear, the work is not easy. And you see this smile on my face outside all the time. But sometimes at home, it's not always a smile. There are a tear or two that are cried, but to my tribe, who holds me up in those difficult times, I say, thank you.
to the people I get to serve with every single day. For none of us, I don't care if you're the president and CEO of a company, none of us do this work alone. So I'll close with this, my favorite African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, let's go together. Thank you so very much for this honor.
Mayor Woodards, did you say your mama's here? Is she going to stand up? Stand up, Mom. Another case of the kid turned out pretty good, you get the credit. Nice job. Thank you, Dean Merchant, for introducing the mayor and Mayor Woodards. Once again, congratulations. It's my pleasure now to recognize our Lifetime Achievement Awardee, Randy Rushforth.
Bill Rushforth started the construction company in 1951. Of course, I wasn't around then, so I can't tell you anything per se, but these are all the stories I heard. The first employee that Bill had hired was my father. You know, we were part of the Rushforth family because that's how they did things. You know, in this day and age, you talk about how many people jump from job to job or company to company to grow. You know, at Rushforth, when we sold our business, I think the average tenure was 15 years.
Rushforth Construction was the only place that Kaz McNamara worked. He retired in 1989, and Kim had come to work for us in 1983 and became obviously an integral part of the company and a partner.
The other thing that I could share about Randy really is he likes to give back to not only his people and take care of his people, but just as importantly, the community. Randy was a proponent, a very strong member of Rotary 8, and gave his time and energies to that to support the community. In addition to that, he was a proponent of us being involved in the community as well.
But it was in the work that we did and how we approached it as a team. We always supported our client base. We did, like the YMCA, we did programs with them. And
we opened up 3 major centers in 3 big communities. The Rushforth Construction Company was an integral part of that growth. And to do that, it's not just building a new facility, a new community center. You have to have a group that buys into the vision, and it really requires a hand-in-hand partnership and to share in the vision. And that's what Rushforth Construction did with the YMCA.
We wanted to be active in the community that supported us. We really encouraged people to get out and become active in nonprofit companies. And we almost always had people involved outside of the business in the community.
We all at Rushforth did a lot of community involvement. Whatever it was, we were there doing it with teams or individually, whatever it took. Yeah, it was an honor, really, to be able to work side by side with Randy and with Kim and with Brad. All good people, and I really sum it all up in one word, and that would be family.
So it really is a legacy that spans beyond just the Rushforth family. When you look at family legacy, it really involves a much broader family than what you typically think of. And then when you get beyond that, the family includes a lot of people that felt like family in the company too.
To present the award to Randy Rushforth is Bill Weyerhaeuser. Bill.
Thank you, David. This evening, we are very pleased and privileged to recognize Randy Rushforth for his lifetime of achievement with Rushforth Construction. During his leadership, Rushforth enlarged its geographic scope of construction activity from the greater Tacoma area to 7 western states. Randy's rule of thumb was that all projects had to be within a 2-hour plane ride. As the company grew, so did its reputation for quality of work and for the quality of its people. I can personally attest to the truth of this reputation because Rushforth built a headquarters building for a company that my wife Gail and I owned. The project came in on time and on budget. The people were wonderful to work with, and the finished product was outstanding. During Randy's leadership, Rushforth Construction was 3 times named the best company to work for in Pierce County for its family feel and its dedication to its staff and to our community. Randy's office door was always open for staff to come in and talk to him about whatever issues they faced. When he sold the company in 2009, the average tenure of the core employee group was 15 years, and some had worked for the company for 25 to 30 years. Employees were encouraged to volunteer in service to the community. Randy himself served for a number of years on the Salvation Army Board and was a longtime member of Rotary 8. The company sponsored a golf tournament every year that raised money for charities that served families and children. Rushforth Construction, in its commitment to quality and service, became a very successful company. Randy credits this success to having a great team of people. They made the company. Please join us in congratulating Randy.
Thank you, Bill. That was quite flattering, and you took away most of the things that I was going to say. You know, as I stand up here and listen to the previous winners, nobody's got a big ego. Nobody talks about themselves. Everybody talks about the other people. And that's what makes leaders lead, I think, and is the support from other people. And I'm no different than these people. I really shouldn't be up here by myself. This is an amazing award for me. I've been retired 10 years. I'm surprised anybody even remembers me. But this really should be a company award. It shouldn't be an award to me. There's so many people that I have to thank. I had a vision when I bought the company from my dad, and I was supported in that vision by a lot of people. The people that I'd like to thank, first of all, I'd like to thank God. We couldn't have got through what we did without a lot of answer to prayer. I would also like to thank my family, my wife in particular, and my sons and my daughter, who one son is here, Troy. Many days, many nights, I didn't get home much before they went to bed. But that's kind of the way running a company is. I was very fortunate, and maybe I had an advantage, I don't know. But when I look back at my life, my parents in 1951 had the sheer guts after World War II to start start a construction company. And like the video said, the first person that my dad hired was Kaz Nakamura. Kaz worked for the company until 1989, long after I had bought the company. And he became my dad's right-hand man and was literally indispensable to the company. Beyond that, I grew up in the company. I learned to work in the company, starting at about 12 or 13, before there was child labor laws. I got to learn how to carry lumber and dig ditches. And I didn't appreciate it much then, but I learned how to work, and I learned what a dollar meant. As I grew up, I got to earn my way through college by working. I worked my way through college. My parents helped a little bit, but they didn't have enough money to put me entirely through college. So it took me 7 years to get through school. I dropped out at one point, became a journeyman carpenter, got to run some jobs, learn how to supervise people that were twice my age, which sometimes was challenging. But I also bought a house, remodeled it, sold it, and got enough money to finish my University of Washington education. After I did graduate from the University of Washington in Seattle with a construction management degree. After I got out of college, I worked for another company for 5 years. Coincidentally, it was Carriage Corporation, who Evie was married to Jean Lynn, who was a very tough master to work for. He was a guy that would pile responsibility on you. And thank God I worked in California for 3 years. I'm not sure I would have made it without getting fired, but he was very tough, and we built medical facilities all over the U.S., but I got to build medical facilities in California. When I told him I was leaving the company, he wasn't exactly thrilled. He actually flew down to California, took me out to dinner, and tried to convince me to stay. And when I told him that I knew I could get a job anywhere, but he did offer me the opportunity to come back to Carriage at any point in time. But I said, I've got to give my dad's company a try. I'll probably only get that opportunity one time in my life. If it doesn't work out, I'll come back and see you. And he told me two things. He said, remember these things when you get in business. He said, never compare yourself to other people. There's always going to be people that are more successful than you and people that are less successful. He said, just chart your course and stick to it. The other thing he told me was to surround yourself with good people. Find people that are smarter than you. Let them do their job. Which I have to say got a little tense at times when you wonder where the next payroll is going to come from or where the next job is going to come from. But it always worked. I really depended on my staff. I had an incredible bunch of people that I worked with. When I took over the company, when I bought the company, originally it was $4 to $5 million volume. When we sold the company, it was about 25 times that size. And as Bill mentioned, we were working all over the western U.S., which was very rewarding, very stressful, but we had great people that we could send out, and we trusted them to do a great job. And no matter where we went, we did a good job for people. To accomplish all this, though, I needed good business partners. 3 are here tonight. Two of the people are Kaz's sons, Kim Nakamura, who became president of the company eventually, Brad Nakamura, who was our CFO. I hired Kim when he was fresh out of college. He went to WSU, and he was one of the few that didn't get an agricultural degree. No, they have a construction management school over there, and go ahead, you can laugh at that. They have a construction management school over there, and Kim did get a degree in construction management. And I have to say, he is probably one of the two smartest people to ever graduate from WSU. I have no other idea who another person that smart might be, but I'm just giving WSU the benefit of the doubt. But he was very dedicated, very loyal, and like I said, Kim became indispensable to the company and eventually became president. Brad became our CFO. He worked for a developer that we stole him from. No, the developer actually basically retired, and Brad came to work for us. But Brad worked a long time for us and really ran the company's finances and a large part of the office. The other person that's here tonight is Don Lloyd. He was our marketing director for 20-something years, and honest to God, there was not a better marketing director for construction in the country. He almost consistently brought us more work than we could handle, and I know he had to disappoint some potential clients by telling them, we can't do the work. Don and I had many discussions about, we are full, Don, don't find another job. But as Bill alluded to, we almost always had people in the community. We had people on boards, on committees. We sponsored dinners. We sponsored lunches and breakfasts in the community. We tried to be a part of the community and give back to the community that gave so much to us. The money that we donated, we always budgeted a certain amount of money every year, but we tried to concentrate on families and kids. That's where I thought the concentration should be for the next generation, and we really tried to support that every year. We developed a golf tournament that Bill mentioned. It started out as a very small little golf tournament for the company. Not very long into that, I thought, man, we can make something out of this. And we eventually, very soon actually, we decided we could get sponsors. We could get whole sponsors. We could get prize sponsors. We could charge a fee. We consistently had 150 to 160 golfers every year, and we raised somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 a year that we would give to 3 to 4 nonprofits that we thought were doing a great job in the city. It was something that I think made the not just the people that we helped feel good, but the staff really got a lot of pleasure out of doing it and a lot of gratification. The other thing that we did that was kind of fun, that we would start right at the first of the year, and we would have we had a very small amount taken out of the employees' checks if they wanted, and we would start a Christmas fund. Well, when you have a couple hundred employees, over the course of the year, you get quite a few $1,000s. And we would pick 10 to 15 families, and we would support them through the holidays. We would feed them, we'd buy presents for them, and the company employees would deliver those things, and everybody really enjoyed that. And it was just another way that we found to give back to the community. All in all, we built a really great company, and like I said, I did not do this by myself. It took a great bunch of people, and I will accept this award, but I'm going to accept it on behalf of the other 30 people or so that ought to be up here with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. On behalf of the University of Washington, Tacoma and the Milgard School, thank you all for helping us recognize and celebrate our 2022 business leaders. Let's give all of them another round of applause, please. I want to give a special thanks to Dean Merchant. There's a lot of hard work that goes into running a business school. You do this one proud. We appreciate all you're doing and all you've given to the university. Dean Merchant, thank you. I wanted to make a comment. We make fun sometimes of our friends and who went to that other university on the other side of the state, university, Washington State University. Here's what I tell people, a couple of things. About Wazoo, I tell my Cougar friends, I can say go Cougs 362 days a year faithfully. There are 2 basketball days and 1 football day. I cannot say that. But go Cougs for all those 362 days. We appreciate what you do for Washington. I also want to tell you something that Anna-Marie Kalse, the president of the university, says about the University of Washington. She sometimes calls it the University for Washington, and that's the way I think of it. It's a university that's here for the people of Washington to help make this a better place, a more productive place, a more prosperous place, and to change lives, as somebody else up here mentioned, not just for one generation, but for the generations of all those students who go through the University of Washington. It changes those lives down through the generations. So, and if you're leaving that way, or if you get a chance, just even if you're parked across the street, stick your head out the door and look that way a little bit. What used to be the Kegel parking lot, that's where the new Milgard School of Business is going up right now, and it's worth a look. You know, buildings like that don't just happen. They take a lot of money and a lot of effort. And I want to appreciate the people who do the fundraising, which help support those sorts of things. And the people, there's a committee of people who work from this university in harness with people at the UW, the big administration, to make these things come in on time and on budget. And there was a time a year or so ago, I was getting calls from Larry Kopp and from certainly Herb Simon, my good friend, and several other folks here who shall remain nameless, but whose other name is Cal Bamford, about the need to get this thing finished. There was a concern that we're going to have to shell out a part of it and just leave it vacant till we could afford to build out the rest of it. It's all getting built in one swell foop, and that takes a lot of effort, so pleased at that. So I want to thank those folks who put in the effort to make sure that that happened, and it just takes a lot of effort and a lot of dedication. So as you see that new building going up, appreciate that. We appreciate your continued support of the Milgard School of Business and its programs, and of University of Washington in general. So until next year, be well, go Huskies. Good night.